Hello dear viewer, today I want to talk about the Columbia Classics 4K box set. You know the ones I'm talking about, these big honking things that take up so much space on the shelves. They come with 6 different films in here, all on 4K. The reason I want to talk about these is because recently we got the announcement that a volume 4 is on the way. It's coming out in March and there's some interesting stuff going on here. There's 6 films as always, but I want to talk about, where do these kind of sit in the release schedule? How important are these? Are they doing everything right? Are they not? So yeah, lots to talk about. You'll notice that I'm holding volumes 2 and 3 here, and I don't actually have volume 1. I stupidly never purchased it. I didn't realize that these were sort of a limited thing. And I actually think volume 1 probably didn't have as many units printed as these further 2 box sets. So if I can just beg for a moment before we get into the discussion, if anyone has a volume 1 box set lying around that they don't want, that they want to sell on or whatever, then please just let me know. I'll put my email address in the description of this video and you can get in touch and we can sort something out. I would be eternally grateful to anyone that can help me in my epic quest of getting a volume 1 of this. So volume 4 of the Columbia Classic set. It's coming very soon. It's got 6 films in, and I'm gonna have to look at my phone because I can't hold this much information in my head. It's got His Girl Friday, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Kramer vs. Kramer, Starman, Sleepless in Seattle, and Punch Drunk Love. And as always, it's a bit of a weird mix of movies. I say a weird mix, I'm not talking about the quality of these movies, I'm talking about the fact that there isn't really much of a kind of thematic link between these films. They just kind of fall under the Columbia Classics umbrella. All of these are 4K upgrades that I would want to add to my collection anyway, if they're done properly. Some of these are titles that are featured in the Criterion collection. For example, there's His Girl Friday, the Howard Hawks screwball comedy, and Punch Drunk Love, the Paul Thomas Anderson movie. This is not the first time this has happened as well. We saw in some of the older box sets, you had It Happened One Night and Anatomy of a Murder. You've got Kramer vs. Kramer, which I think is a great film. You've got Starman, which I'm actually eagerly wanting to rewatch, so I'll hold off to get the 4K disc in this set. You got Sleepless in Seattle, which maybe is the one that kind of sticks out as a bit of a sore thumb here. And then Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which is a classic. So my thoughts on this upcoming box set and the previous ones is it's kind of mixed. I really like them in terms of the design. I like that they feel like a premium product. That's because they come with a premium price point. You're spending over £100 or $100 on these box sets. Number 4 is retailing at £129 on release. Most 4K discs on release in the UK now retail for £20 or £25 each. So that's about right. But often when you're buying a big box set, you kind of want some of that discount baked in, because it isn't like going and buying 6 individual titles. You're buying one product, they've only needed to market one product to you. So while 6 films for £129 does fit in, I kind of feel like I wish these were a bit cheaper, but hey, I wish everything was cheaper at the moment. Then we can look at the films that are actually included and the selection here, because like I said, they are a bit varied. Some of the titles in the set would have a much higher demand than others if they were released separately. And we saw this with some of the older box sets, like with Volume 2, for example, which of course arguably the biggest title is Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver, which I think still doesn't have a separate release. And this came out 2 years ago now, 3 years ago. Also included in this set was Sense and Sensibility, Ang Lee's film, which was one of the most beautiful 4K discs I saw from this year. But if you compare Sense and Sensibility and Taxi Driver, we all know which one would sell more units in the marketplace. However, by bundling these films together in a product like this, yes, some people who would ordinarily buy Taxi Driver on its own will not be able to afford this, so won't buy it, but a lot of people will still buy this mainly for Taxi Driver, and Sony is able to chalk this up as a sale for Sense and Sensibility as well. So I can assure you, when the titles are selected for box sets like this, it isn't random. They are picking ones that ordinarily people wouldn't buy together necessarily and putting them together. Now, I'm sure we could debate about what we think of this tactic. You know, is it right for the consumer? Perhaps it's out of necessity on the business side. I don't know about the financials of a project like this, putting a product together like these Columbia Classic sets. I don't know what the costs are like involved in this. So it could be that they have to do this to bring these to the market, putting all of the films in one big box set, making it limited edition, and just hoping that people will buy it. The cynics out there would say that, well, they're just doing this so that further down the line they can release the films separately. Because we have seen from Volume 1, Lawrence of Arabia got some standalone steelbooks, Doctor Strangelove was released separately. So it could be sort of preying on the fear of missing out, making people buy the box set just so they don't have to wait years for a standalone release. I don't know. What do you think of these Columbia Classics sets? Are they the kind of thing you like to buy day one, or do you like to wait for a sale? Or even at sale prices, are these the kind of things that you don't want in your collection? Because perhaps if all 6 films in a set you're not equally interested in, maybe you don't want Sense and Sensibility in your collection if you just want Taxi Driver. If you do happen to be interested in buying any of these 4K Columbia Classic sets or pre-ordering the 4th one that is coming out soon, I'll include some links in the description of this video. Feel free to use them. If you do, it helps support this channel at no additional cost to you, but please don't feel like you have to at all. If you haven't already, check out my video on the top box sets of 2023. I'll link it on screen right now, so just click through and you can get some recommendations from me. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.